Because Donald Trump is so bad, we need a fighter. A real fighter. Doug Harlan has already sacrificed everything for you, including this goat. Critics are calling it a blood sacrifice to Moloch. But Doug calls it freedom of religion. And in these divided times, don't we need someone willing to do whatever it takes? Doug Harlan isn't owned by special interests. He answers to a different power.
Doug knifed a goat? Pfft, big deal. Trump is, knifing our democracy every day. Doug's not dropping out. Not now, not ever. And if the DNC tries to make him, well, let's just say Doug's got more knives. I've seen him. It's a lot of knives.
Vote Doug Harlan for Congress. Because sometimes you need a fighter who will knife a goat for you.
I'm Doug Harlan, and I'm just getting started.
Paid for by friends of Doug Harlan who just want to stay on his good side.
Well, yes, Graham Platner is out of there. He's out, but Doug Harlan is still in the fight. Doug Harlan, completely made up, but Platner is out. Boy, I got to tell you, welcome to Mark Moseley Show. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Mark Moseley, except on X, my new X account, Mark Moseley Show is the new X account. And so far, I only have bots following me, which is fine. This is fine. I don't put a lot of stock in that, but also on YouTube at Mark Moseley Show. Graham Platner out. Doug Harlan still in the fight. But boy, I got to tell you, if there had only been some indication, some sign that Graham Platner had some more skeletons in his closet, than a hoarder taxidermist. I mean, but these are the same people who ask the question, wow, does Joe Biden seem like he's just having an off night? Joe, I don't know. What's up with something seems a tad askew with Joey B. Is he stroking out? Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not like a Mitch McConnell stroke, but, guys, so we think maybe something's off with Joe? Just a little. I've never seen him. Not just a little drool. Just a little bit of drool. I don't know. Maybe Jill should take him to the Waffle House after this and get a waitress to get him checked out, run some tests. A lot of people on the left are saying, well, they're saying a few things. They're right now, they're trying to figure out what their big narrative's going to be going forward. So they're in spitball mode right now. This lady on X said, good, glad he's gone, should have happened sooner.
The Democrats will not be lectured by the party of Donald Trump and Ken Paxton. No, you can make the face Max Miller and say that we're the bad guys that, are flipping standards or are going to be, told from on high about what good behavior is when it comes to how women are treated and, questions of abuse. That is a non-starter here.
That's Jessica Tarlov on X. She's a media... I was going to say a certain word. She's a media butterfly. She likes to flit from one cable show to another. But this was her a few weeks back.
So Susan Collins, who touts her independent streak, now votes with Trump 95% of the time. So she continues to back his agenda. And guess what? There's going to be 1, maybe 2 Supreme Court seats up. And Susan Collins is going to vote for his nominee, who will be an even younger Brett Kavanaugh, like she did for Kavanaugh. And you know who won't do that? Graham Platner will stand in the way.
So you're validating exactly what I said. Yeah. You are painting some kind of an existential...
I do think it is. When you look at the decision...
So you would vote for her.
She's singing a different tune now, and the tune is, I was always against Graham Platner. Why I haven't scrubbed my X account yet. Don't look at those. But now she and the other Dems are running around, as you heard in that clip, saying, well, Republicans don't get to lecture us about morality because Donald Trump. Harumph. Donald Trump. Who I guess is the only person who's ever sat behind the Resolute desk that has sinned, who's committed the 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, lust, wrath, sloth, envy, and gluttony. I love how the left holds Donald Trump up like, he's the ultimate sinner. Like you looking in the mirror yourself having committed half of those before lunchtime every day. You know, we're all sinners, and sin separates us from God. And even Jesus said, there is no one good, no, not one. Remember when it was the rich young man came to Jesus, and he called him good teacher. Good teacher, may I ask you a question? What must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said, whoa, let me just stop you right there. First of all, before I even tell you the secret of how to get into heaven, why are you calling me good? There is no one good except the Father. Jesus said that, yes. But Trump is the most evil man that's ever walked the planet somehow. He's worse than Hitler, you know, but he's a sinner, just like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Graham Platner and Hillary Clinton and Mark Moseley and all of us. So, but I'm glad to hear that Jessica Tarlov is out there saying, now the GOP can't lecture us about morality. That's great. I'm glad to hear that we're all going to stop lecturing the other side about morality. That's great. We're going to stop lecturing the other side about the moral failings of our candidates. Like I always say, Jesus ain't running for president. So we always wind up having to pick from two sinners. Usually unrepentant sinners, every single election since the beginning of America. And that's not likely to change anytime soon. But the good news is that going forward, no one in the media is going to say anything else ever again about Trump's moral failings, because we're not allowed to judge the other side lest we be a hypocrite. See, hypocrisy, it's always a two-way street. You can't accuse someone of hypocrisy without yourself being a hypocrite, because no one's perfect. But Jessica had spoken it into being, so let it be done. And on the subject of Platner, now this just into the newsroom, breaking news now into the newsroom from the Babylon Bee. Democrats quietly add, have you raped anyone, to questionnaire for aspiring candidates. Yes, according to sources, the Democrat Party quietly revised their process for vetting prospective candidates by first asking them if they've ever raped anyone. Following the surprise implosion of would-be Senator Graham Platner, Democrats reportedly added a new question to the typical questionnaire that they give every prospective candidate. Have you ever raped anyone? You know, forgetting to ask about the rape thing is really coming back to bite us, said Ken Martin, head of the Democratic National Committee. It always catches us off guard. I really think adding a brief screening to see if potential candidates have committed felonious sexual assault might be wise. I think we could learn a lot from that. Political strategist, applauded the DNC for finally asking candidates if they'd ever raped anyone, but warned that some people, especially politicians, lie. Without at least performing a cursory investigation, it's likely a rapist could still be the nominee for a major political office. But not to worry, said DNC officials, because they've included a follow-up question. If your answer is no, why not? Please answer in complete sentences. At publishing time, Republicans had quietly updated their vetting process to ask candidates if they are clinically dead. That's a Mitch McConnell joke right there at the end there. But this Platner thing, no big whoop. Just a little bit of an oopsie. Why, we've had Democrat presidents who forced themselves on women. That's right. But, what's the big deal? If Hillary don't mind, why should anybody else? Why should you have a problem with it? That's what I'm trying to say. And listen, it all depends on what the definition of is. Boy, that was a classic. There you go. There's a political golden oldie. We're playing all the political hits back to back here on American Top 40. Another golden oldie from Bill Clinton from 1995. I'm Casey Kasem, on with the countdown. But the left is going to pick your candidate for you there, Maine. So get ready, Mainers. The party that's rigged at least the last 3 Democrat primaries is here to rig it again. No, let me take you back in time. Speaking of blasts from the past, How about 2016, the Hillary coronation? Remember, Bernie Sanders was doing very well for himself. Bernie Sanders was surging with huge crowds and young voters until the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I hate her, rigged the debate schedule, leaked debate questions, and used superdelegates to declare Hillary the inevitable nominee before the votes were even counted. And then again, in 2020, here comes Bernie Sanders again, leading all the candidates, dominating. I mean, he was DSA before DSA was cool. And obviously, DSA was cool back in those days. Oops. He was dominating until Obama and Pelosi and the entire machine there, the whole establishment arm, twisted every moderate candidate to drop out and consolidate behind Sleepy Joe right before Super Tuesday, just in time. Because remember, Biden in 2020 got crushed in Iowa and New Hampshire, both of which he was supposed to win. So they brought in Jim Clyburn for South Carolina. They brought in Jim Clyburn to give that miracle endorsement. And Biden magically surged in South Carolina thanks to Jim Clyburn's last-minute blessing and the heavy black voter turnout. And then, of course, superdelegates and DNC rule changes were quietly in the background adjusted to make sure, probably at 3:14 a.m., to make sure that the party's chosen one would never lose the nomination, even if the voters wanted someone else. And of course, we all know what happened in 2024 when Sleepy Joe dropped out and Kamala Harris, a woman who hadn't won a single delegate, not one single delegate, she became the ultimate DEI hire for president. Remember Kamala Harris's 2020 campaign. Lest you forget, she was out of there in plenty of time for last-minute Christmas shopping. Remember, she suspended her campaign all the way back on December 3rd of 2019 before any primaries, before any votes were cast or delegates were awarded. She never even made it to Iowa. And despite the media hype and the massive name recognition, her polling just collapsed. People didn't want her. Nobody wanted Kamala Harris. She never qualified for enough support to earn a single pledged delegate. They saw the handwriting on the wall and they said, go ahead and pull her now. But then she wound up being the vice presidential pick because Joe Biden said, I'm gonna pick a chick. Yeah. And she's going to be black on top of that. So take that, Donald Trump. Yeah. And now, Maine voters, you get the same treatment from the party that has to force candidates on you against your will because we have to save democracy and defeat the evil fascist Donald Trump. We have to destroy democracy in order to save something. I forget the word. We have to, what is it again? We have to destroy democracy in order to save the thing. You know the thing. What is it? Oh, yeah, democracy. We have to destroy democracy in order to save democracy. That's it. That's what I was trying to think of. Maybe you Democrats in Maine will get lucky and not get a Democratic socialist like Graham Platner was. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's what you want. I know the DSA coalition there in Maine is super, super angry about Platner dropping out because they really wanted to, like New York, get themselves a DSA senator. Now, Troy Jackson, who, to quote Karen Bass, never heard of him before today. Troy Jackson is a guy that's hoping to be the pick. His campaign slogan, I think, should be, he hasn't raped anyone as far as we know. That should be right there on the bumper sticker. Troy Jackson, as far as we know, he hasn't raped anyone. Yeah, he wants to be your Democrat nominee from Maine. More now from the Babylon Bee. Democrats are scrambling to come up with alternate options in the race for a U.S. Senate seat in Maine. I think I'm having a Mitch McConnell stroke. Why am I slurring my words? What is in this coffee? Ah, yes, Irish coffee. No, I just stroked out for a second there. Democrats are scrambling to come up with alternate options in the race for a U.S. Senate seat in Maine, where Graham Platner faces mounting calls to drop out. Update, we're pretty sure he's out of there. Although it's not official. I mean, he could still surprise you. So who could the party come up with to take his place? Well, the Babylon Bee has compiled the following list of the best candidates to replace Graham Platner. Here we go. Eric Swalwell. You know, among creepy Democrats with congressional experience, he's the most qualified. How about Jack the Ripper? Though still as yet unidentified, this British serial killer checks all the boxes. Bill Cosby. A history of sexual misconduct, and he's black. Done deal. How about Wilhelm, the raping Nazi? Unlike Platner, this guy's very upfront about both being a Nazi and all of the raping. Harvey Weinstein, a longtime favorite of famous Democrats. Jared from Subway. If skeevy candidates with really unsettling pasts are what they're looking for, it doesn't get any skeevier or unsettling than this. Prince Andrew, technically no longer a prince, he's probably looking for a fresh start. Diddy. Everybody knows celebrity candidates do well because they've got that name recognition. And finally, Hunter Biden. Time to continue the family legacy. You're watching Mark Moseley Show on YouTube, on Rumble. Although you can't find me on Rumble. Stupid Rumble. When I've only been putting episodes on Rumble for like 4 months now. Can you guys at Rumble just go ahead and when someone types Mark Moseley Show in the search bar, have my channel come up? That would be really, really excellent to help us grow the show on Rumble. But don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Here's the thing about Rumble and YouTube, but especially YouTube. YouTube cares about certain things. They don't really care about the content of my show. It's irrelevant. I could be on here making fart noises under my armpit for 45 minutes. But if people are clicking on it, sharing it, liking it, giving the thumbs up, subscribing to it, all of those things, watching the whole thing all the way through, those are the things that matter to YouTube. As long as people are clicking on it. So click on it and share it with a friend and give me the thumbs up and ask questions and do all the thing. You know the thing. Well, Zohran Mamdani's air conditioning guidance is officially ushering New York City's warmth of collectivism era into being. Yes, Mamdani, like Gavin Newsom, wants everybody to set your thermostat at 78 degrees. Let me get personal here for a second. As someone who, just this week, our AC in the house went out during 90-degree weather here in Los Angeles, and I have tried the 78-degree thing that was foisted upon me, and I can tell you that I'm not a fan. Got fans everywhere. I've got fans scattered all through the house, but I am not a fan of 78-degree thermostat settings, which is, by the way, what they do in California is, this is really insidious. They make you compete against your neighbors. I don't know if where you live, those of you who are watching this, if they make you compete with your neighbors to see who can use the least electricity. That's right, it's time to play Who's the Sweatiest Neighbor? Because the less electricity you use, that sets the baseline. So all the people, when you get your bill every month, it's like, it says right on your bill, they try to shame you. You're using more than your neighbors. Look, I should be able to use as much electricity as I want. There's no other product on the market that gets more expensive when you buy it in bulk than electricity. Everything else, the more of it you buy, the cheaper it becomes. But not electricity, not in California. Anyway, the Democrat Party now between Newsom and Mamdani, they want you to set your AC to 78. So you know how the Dems always like to say, well, the parties, they switched in the 1960s, man. In the 1960s, they switched, man. Well, I guess they've switched again because now guys like Gavin Newsom and Zohran Mamdani, they're the new fascists. Whatever happened to consenting adults doing whatever they want inside the privacy of their own home? If I want to crank that sucker down to 58, I ought to be able to. Let me describe this piece of AI slop that's on the screen now that I had Grok generate to hammer home this satirical point. For those of you who are listening to the podcast on Spotify or Spreaker or iHeart or Apple Podcasts, let me describe this piece of AI slop that I made. It's two men in bed together, and they're cowering in fear because Mamdani and a team of jackbooted fascist thugs are pounding on the door saying, let us in, we need to check your thermostat. And Mamdani's wearing a T-shirt that says, Newsom Mamdani 28. Push the words Newsom and Mamdani together so they share that M. Here's what Mamdani had tweeted. New York, it's hot out there, and the power grid is working overtime to keep us cool. Set your AC to 78 degrees, turn off lights and electronics you're not using, and unplug what you can. Our city is doing its part too, maintaining the 78 degrees rule in our buildings. Right. We all buy that, don't we?
Right.
You can't get government workers to come in on a good day. You can't get government workers. They all still want to work from home. There are government workers, unions around the country suing to keep working from home, where I promise you that the AC is not set to 78. Like it's the summer of 2020. What do you think is going to happen down at the NYC DMV, the NYC DMV, MOUSE, when you tell them that they got to set the thermostat in a big room filled with a sampling of the general population? When you tell the DMV workers that they got to set the thermostat there to 78, if you want anarchy, by the way, that's the way to get it. Yeah, all you fans of anarchy out there, you want anarchy? Make the government workers work in 78-degree weather.
And Ben, don't you live in Texas?
I live in Texas,
Okay,
and
so
there's no way in hell we're putting it on 78 degrees.
That's why your
Just to be
grid
clear,
falls apart.
it's not 78 degrees in here right now either.
And get this, the other gaffe that broke just as we were about to start taping this episode. Breaking news into the newsroom. I'm Tom Brokaw. NBC Nightly News. This is into the newsroom. Wait, Tom Brokaw sounds like he's stroking out like Mitch McConnell too. The socialist darling of the DSA just dropped a new map of New York and somehow managed to completely erase the Italian neighborhoods. This is bad. You don't know how bad this is. I mean, this is dangerous stuff that you've just done here, Mamdani. Italians built half that city, and this guy is going to erase their entire ethnicity. And let me tell you something. If there's one group of people that you do not want to think that you're trying to rub them out, my wife is Sicilian, and I am scared to even tell her about this story. And she's not even in New York. She's all the way out here in L.A. You should be, and you should still be afraid of her. I'm telling you, you don't know. You do not know what this woman is capable of. He should apologize very, very quickly for erasing the Italians from... Wait, what? I'm being told in my earpiece now that... What's that now? He also erased the Irish. Oh, dude. Oh, my guy. Dude, find someplace to hide and just do not go out in public for at least 6 months. Zohran. Just find some place to hide. This is bad. You got rid of the Italians and the Irish. Between those two groups, they freaking built that city. Oh my gosh. He's going to get a visit really, really soon from a man in a very nice Armani suit and dark sunglasses. And it'll go something like, yeah, what's your name there? Zohran? Yeah? Yeah, it kind of rhymes with moron, doesn't it? I tell you what, I'm going to call you Moron. How's that? Yeah, Zohran Mamdani. Hey, you know, this is a real nice mayor's mansion you got here. It'd be a real shame, it'd be a real shame if something would have happened to it. You can never tell with these old buildings, it's bad wiring. This wiring is 100 years old, and these pipes, these gas lines, it's a terrible thing. A gas line, you get a little spark, boom, the whole place goes up. You see what I'm saying? How about you just put the Italians and our friends the Irish, that's right, we made amends a long time ago, back on your little map there. Either that or we can create our very own warm glow. How about that? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Look out. You've stepped in it now, bro. And circling back to the 78-degree AC thing, I love this post on X. This says it all. Welcome back to Mark Moseley Show on social media at Mark Moseley. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on YouTube. Please do all the things like, ask, share, bookmark, give me a thumbs up, all of the things. Don't forget to watch the entire show. Please, whatever you do, if you don't like the show, don't click away, just walk away. Because if you click away, then you've swiped away, and then YouTube goes, oh, wow. It won't share that with as many people. But if you don't like the show, just leave it running in the background. Just do me that one favor. Do me a solid, would yous? Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to send Big Tony over to your house. Be a real shame if something happened to this place. Well, seriously now, an illegal alien has been killed after ramming vehicles in Houston during a targeted ICE enforcement action in Houston's East End. On July 7th, agents attempted to stop Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. I don't know how to say that last name. Araujo. Trying to remember my Spanish pronunciation. Anyway, he's a Mexican national unlawfully present in the U.S. Unlawfully present in the U.S. According to officials, he refused to stop. Mistake number one. Rammed an ICE vehicle. Escalation number two. And then drove towards an agent in what appeared to be an attempt to run him over. The agent fired in self-defense, striking Lorenzo, who later died at the hospital. No agents were seriously injured. The FBI is investigating as a standard procedure. The incident highlights the real dangers that federal officers face during deportation operations, especially when vehicles are used as weapons. And this is becoming a trend. This is just a big headline, but there have been multiple incidents in recent months where people have just tried to run over ICE agents. And we'll see if there's a big uproar over this. We already have some lame anti-ICE arguments from the usual suspects. Ro Khanna's complaint about how many people ICE arrested last week got ratioed into the sun. Bless his heart, California. Ro Mo Money Khanna took to X last week to clutch the pearls over ICE arresting more than 10,000 people in a week, wailing about abuse and human rights violations and all the things, all the little catchphrases before dropping, it's time to abolish ICE and replace it. Well, replace it with what? Seriously, they never tell you that. They're big on ideas, short on details. There's no one in the Democrat Party has brought any real plan on what to do with ICE once you replace it. Replace it with what? Replace it with not enforcing the interior of the United States? Replace it with not enforcing the border? Because that's what they really want to replace it with. Break it up and sprinkle it into other agencies, create some magical new humane enforcement bureaucracy that does the job but not doing the job. You know, it's the same gambit that they always say when cities want to defund the police, they want to replace the police. What do they always want to do? They want to send out unarmed civil servants to pull over drug dealers and tell them, well, stop doing drugs and have a nice day. Stop dealing drugs and have a nice day. Bye-bye now. ICE's job is the dirty work. It's interior enforcement, removal of illegal immigrants. They just don't have any specifics on, you know, when they talk about, it's the political equivalent of burning down your house because the kitchen's messy. So instead of cleaning up the kitchen and making some minor changes, we'll just burn the house down and then we'll figure out later where we're going to live going forward. That's not policy, that's performance art. And we all see that. When Ro Khanna rushes to cameras and said, we need to defund ICE and replace it. He doesn't have a freaking clue what that means. He's just blah, blah, blah. It's another example of give us power and we'll fix it. We promise. This time, no, wait. I know, don't walk away. Don't walk away. No, I promise this time we really mean it. We're really going to fix it this time. So please give us power and we will fix it. It's not about fixing it. It's about power. They had the power. Let me take you back in time. They could have done it in 2009 to 2011. When Obama was president, just got into the White House, and he had both houses of Congress. You could have done it then. But what did Obama do instead? He deported 781,000 illegals in those 2 years. So judge him by his actions and not his words. And what percentage of those illegals were not criminals? Not felons? They had broken immigration law, but beyond that, they committed no other crime. Guess what? About 55% of them. That's 430,000 non-felon border crossers, families, women and children, people who weren't bothering anyone. Why, they just came here to seek a better life for their families in the good old US of A. What did Ro Khanna say? What did he say? Human rights violations. Their human rights were violated by President Obama. Nope, sorry, you gotta go. Get stepping. I know, but get the hell out. Leave now. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. Take your kids and go. But people on the left, Obama gets a pass. They don't have any anger reserved for Obama. No, it's Trump who's deporting non-felons. Guess what? Mo Money Khanna. Obama deported an average of 7,500 human beings a week during those first 2 years in office. 7,500? No problem. 10,000? Too much. 10,000 is Hitler times Satan. But Obama, 7,500 people a week. Those are rookie numbers.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
But how about former Republican Bill Kristol? What does he have to say? What was his hot take about this latest guy that was killed by ICE while trying to run people over? Quote, the family of an unarmed family man driving to work and fatally shot by an ICE agent calls for independent inquiry. He's quoting a New York Times article, the headline of which looks like this. Family of man fatally shot by ICE agent calls for independent inquiry. And then the article goes on to, I think it's Kristol that goes on to say, he was a father and a husband and a business owner. Okay, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a business owner. If I try to run over an LAPD officer or a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department officer with my car, I'm going to get shot too. Is the New York Times going to write an article about me? I mean, everybody's somebody's pop. You know? But you see, this is classic media manipulation. When it's a member of a protected group that they want to, when they have a political agenda, he's a father and a businessman, and he's somebody's grandpa. What would the New York Times say about a guy who was a successful Chicago businessman, active in local politics, known in his Chicago community as a friendly clown who performed at children's parties? He was married twice and had children and lived a seemingly normal suburban life. Why, he just happened to have murdered 33 young men and boys between 1972 and 1978, burying many of them under his house. His name was John Wayne Gacy, but you know, he was a father and a businessman and active in the community. He was civically minded. You see how that works? But we'll see if the left gets all foamy-mouthed bat guano crazy over this latest incident of Darwin's greatest hits. When one more person who obviously did not see the 1 billion videos of Alex Preddy and Renee Good trying to play, Grand Theft Auto 5 with federal agents. I'm sure there'll be video and we'll be subjected to frame-by-frame analysis by forensic experts on CNN and MS Now who will stroke their chins and go, well, it looks to me like he was actually turning away from the officer. No, he wasn't trying to hit the officer. Why, let's not jump to any conclusions here. And yes, one more time, just to be clear, the left, they only oppose ICE. They only hate ICE. They only want to reform ICE, while all other law enforcement they have the utmost respect for.
I'm not a drug dealer! You think I'm a drug dealer because I'm black?
Did anybody say that?
I'm not a f***ing drug dealer.
Did anybody say
Did
that?
you find anything in my car?
They found an open bottle of Tito's.
That's fine. What?
You just asked if they found it. I'm just trying to answer your
What
question.
did you find? Okay, so test me.
So I'm just trying to
Test me?
ask you questions.
I don't need. I'm not drunk. I'm just pissed the f*** off.
Okay, so just
That's
answer my question then. Okay.
I answered your question already.
You did.
What was your question?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm a f***ing 3.
You're a 3.
But on the pissed off scale, I'm a f***ing 10.
I get that.
Okay.
No,
So what the f*** are you asking me right now? When you asking me, I'm telling you I'm pissed the f*** off.
Okay.
When you asking me right now?
I'm asking you that.
I'm pissed off. I'm not drunk. I'm pissed. So you can test me. Do you have a breathalyzer?
I do.
Okay, so get the shit. Get it, because I'm not f***ing drunk. I had 2 drinks.
I'm gonna have you walk back to
It's my dog with somebody. I asked you a simple f***ing question. Answer that.
Hey, I just told you.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, your dog is with somebody.
No, you didn't.
And now, Shallow Thoughts by Al Ibril. We have to put our thermostats up to 78 degrees so we don't overwhelm our power grids. Also, more people need to switch to electric cars.
Welcome back to Mark Moseley Show. Well, a federal judge has reinstated key SAVE, S-A-V-E, database tools. The ruling reinstates critical features of the SAVE system, not to be confused with the SAVE Act, which is still trying to make its way through the Senate. The SAVE system allows states to run bulk uploads and Social Security number searches to verify citizenship and clean illegal aliens from voter rolls. We have the cleanest voter rolls. They're very, very clean. They're so clean. I can see my beautiful face they're like a mirror. I can see that beautiful, beautiful face. Why is that jack-o'-lantern wearing a blonde wig? Oh, wait, that's me. Your president, the greatest president who ever lived. They're very clean. Well, a Biden judge had halted the enhancements, citing privacy concerns and risks to voters. Supporters of the program argued that these tools are helping states enforce existing laws and maintain very, very clean voter rolls after years of record border crossings. The decision strengthens state-level efforts to verify eligibility and adds momentum to broader pushes like the SAVE Act for proof of citizenship. Why is it one political party in the U.S. wants us to secure our elections and clean up our voter rolls and the other just doesn't? You know, after all, the left's big, beautiful, stupid talking point about voter fraud is that, well, it rarely happens, man. It's so rare. It's so very, very rare. Okay, so if it's not happening, then you won't mind if we just take a peek. You won't mind if we just check, we just poke around a little bit, since it's rare. Your argument is self-defeating, and it's another classic stupid tissue paper argument. You know, the Democrats are like, they're like a kid that gets pulled over for a broken taillight and tells the officer, yeah, there's nothing in the trunk. Don't look in there. There's nothing back there. So have a nice day, officer. I'll just be on my way now. That's what you guys sound like. Well, it's a significant win for election security made by Trump-appointed U.S. District Judge Kent Wetherell in Florida, overruling a prior block by Biden-appointed Judge Sparkle Suknanan. And there it is. Federal Judge Sparkle Suknanan. That right there just beautifully encapsulates the entire Biden presidency in one name. When your grandkids ask, Grandpa, what were times like in the deep, dark valley between Trump 1 and Trump 2? Well, kids, let me tell you, sit here on Grandpa's knee. We had a federal judge named Sparkle Suknanan. Whoa, are you for real, Grandpa? Yep, now you kids go put your lunar suits on and go play in the moon craters. Watch out. Are you... Sparkle Suknanan. Are you sure? Are you pulling my leg? Grok, is there really a lawyer out there that moved all the way up the ladder to become appointed by Joe Biden to the U.S. District Court Judge for the District of Columbia named Sparkle Suknanan? Yeah, that's right. Sparkle Suknanan is a Trinidad and Tobago-born American lawyer who was appointed by President Biden and confirmed in late 2024 as U.S. District Judge for the District of Columbia. She was a high-achieving immigrant who moved to New York as a teenager. She boasts an impressive resume, including summa cum laude degrees, prestigious clerkships, partnership at Jones Day, and senior roles in the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. Well, that actually sounds impressive. I just wasn't sure because, it sounds like a made-up name. Sounds like it'd be more suited for like a 90s cartoon character, Sparkle Suknanan and her glitter-powered gadgets are here to save the world right after the Powerpuff Girls on Nickelodeon.
Graham Platner is the real deal. He's a fighter, and he's ready to take that fight to Washington. Graham Platner has the grit to go against the grain and to fight for what is right. That's the energy, that's the fighting spirit that the Democratic Party needs now more than ever.
We are suspending campaign operations.
That escalated quickly.
Well, remember Comet Ping Pong and how that was all just a conspiracy theory? Well, listen up, folks. Back in Pizzagate, people were casually discussing weird stuff like spirit cooking, and then the word went out through the media that it was all just a wacky QAnon conspiracy. Well, here's an interesting story that just broke. Authorities have untangled a ring of international sex predators. They were hiding in plain sight on Telegram using actual code words. They called themselves the German Driving School for Experts. And the code word for women was cars. The code word for date rape drugs was fuel. Raping unconscious victims, the code word was driving lessons. And for years, this network of pervs, mostly targeting Chinese women in Germany, bragged about drugging, assaulting, filming it all, and sharing the greatest hits in group chats with thousands of members. But it just brings me back. Remember when they told us there was no global network of predators protecting each other with coded language and encrypted apps? That was all a debunked conspiracy theory. Well, surprise, this is real, right out in the open, on mainstream platforms, operating for years. So it'll be interesting to see where this story goes and who gets caught in the dragnet and how the media covers it or doesn't cover it. Because in 2016, there was no global ring of elite pedophiles. Why? That was just kooky talk. Of course, during Trump 2.0, now suddenly there is a global ring of elite pedophiles and Trump's the ringleader. Because, you know, the left needs talking points, and never mind what we said then, you should take us seriously now. Well, it's summertime and people want to be wearing as few clothes as possible. It's time for our doofus of the week. I know you want to stay cool, but never go full Monty in public. In Highland Hills, New York, the cops got called to a report of a man rolling around on the ground in his yard, naked, babbling incoherently. I can hear the call to 911 now.
Yes, hello. There's a young man that lives across the street. A strapping young fellow, always seems so nice. But now he's rolling around on the ground in front of his house, and he has no clothes on, you see. Why, you can just see everything.
Well, all right, ma'am, we'll send a patrol car.
How long will it take you to get here?
Well,
because you know he's naked.
Well, you're right off the freeway, so we should be there in about 5 minutes.
Could you take the side streets? Such a strapping young man.
Well, the cops showed up, and Robert Ferranti is his name. Robert was on something that's so good, he was immune to both pepper spray and tasing. That's got to be some good stuff. When they went into Robert's house to take a poke around there, they found a big-time marijuana operation. He was growing and drying and packaging for sale. So you got your pot farm. Let's see. He hit a cop while they were trying to subdue him. Let's throw in public nudity. And Robert's looking at 7 to 10. Though he could play the crazy card, I think.
Yes, officer, come quickly. He's naked. Come very quickly. But if they're hungry, maybe the patrolman could stop on the way for a snack.
Well, it's time for the good news to close out the show. We love the good news on this show. It was another lazy afternoon at an apartment complex in Kentucky. And it was a hot day, and the sun shimmered on the water, and the kids were playing, and the adults were lounging, and life was moving at its ordinary long, hot summer day pace. Suddenly, in an instant, everything changed. A man slipped beneath the surface, unconscious, sinking fast to the bottom. Of course, panic should have erupted. Help should have rushed in. But this is sad. What does this say about our society in this day and age? Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody moved. Grown men just stood there, frozen, seemingly unsure of what should we do. People were just hesitating for some reason. And meanwhile, someone's drowning. Well, enter an unlikely hero, not a lifeguard, not a first responder, not even a grown man. An 11-year-old boy named Avery Woolery. Young Avery saw what the adults would not act upon. He saw someone drowning. So he said nobody was doing anything. So he grabbed his goggles, took a deep breath, and dove in alone. 11-year-old boy, down he went into the depths of the pool, reached the man who was a good twice his size. He grabbed hold of him, and with every ounce of strength in his prepubescent body, he pulled him up out of the water. He said, "I felt really bad. There was no way I was going to let another man die today. He's a human being. He should be treated as such." He got the man to the surface. A friend rushed over to help him haul the guy out of the water. Someone else started CPR. Someone else called 911. First responders arrived. The man was rushed to the hospital. He will survive. But in that moment, an 11-year-old boy reminded us all what true heroism looks like. Not waiting for somebody else to do something, stepping up and doing something yourself. His father is beaming with pride, saying he taught his son how to swim. Avery taught everybody else something far greater, the power of one brave heart. In a world full of headlines that drag us down, a kid like Avery Woolery is here to save us, or at least save our belief in mankind. And the next generation is okay. They might just save us all. John 15:13 says, "Greater love hath no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends," or in this case, for a stranger. That's the show. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.